let's continue where we left off in the 3rd chapter of the 2nd act. May this reading relax your mind and awaken your heart. A few days later, I came upon Veda Niketan, a small, lonely, one-story ashram made up of about a dozen austere rooms. The residents, like many people I was meeting, were preparing to go to Kumbh Mela. We just had one. We had a Maha Kumbh Mela, in fact. The biggest religious festival in all of India. When I heard 20 million people were going to be there, I decided to stay behind. I think this year we had 500 million people. Not far behind Veda Niketan, I found a cave in the forest where I made my residence. Each morning before sunrise, I walked to the bank of Mother Ganga and looked out into her swift current. She was perhaps 100 yards wide at this spot, her riverbank covered with soft silvery sand, like jeweled ornaments of multicolors. Smooth rocks ranging from tiny pebbles to boulders weighing thousands of pounds lined her banks. Feeling unworthy of the treasures I sought, I felt a desperate need for purification. Then and there, I resolved that for 1 month I would sit in silence and pray from sunrise to sunset. I prayed to have a spot revealed. Just then, before my eyes, I noticed a series of small rocks in the river. They formed a natural bridge to a much larger, somewhat flat rock about 25 feet from the bank. This rock was to become my cherished place. I would sit on it every day from sunrise to sunset, surrounded on all sides by the forceful current of the Ganga. In that incredible panorama, I felt so tiny. At dusk, as I returned to the cave, I passed an old man who sat on the ground selling miniature carrots displayed on a piece of old burlap. As I passed, he would offer me one. Ganga water and 1 carrot a day, I decided, would be my only food for 30 days. The solitude of that rock became my shelter. I sat from dawn to dusk, facing upstream. To my left, on the opposite bank, I could see in the distance an occasional yogi sitting in meditation. To my right stretched the beautiful Himalayan foothills. The closest mountain took the shape of a heart at its very top. I gazed on it for hours, thinking of how it symbolized for me the heart of God, a heart that is unlimited, giving ultimate shelter to all beings, a heart that is majestic and beautiful. Just as in climbing a mountain, we leave behind the earth where we stand to reach the heart of God, we have to leave behind unfavorable earthly attachments. Sincere spiritual practice is an uphill climb, and no matter how many difficulties we face, we have to continue looking upward with hope. The mountain provides all support for those who strive to reach its top. Similarly, if we are sincere, the Lord will provide us with the means to reach His supremely merciful heart. Spread out around me on all sides was Mother Ganga, in her winter dress of sparkling, undulating aqua. Her waves rippled in swirls as if intoxicated by her own beauty. No human artist could capture even a moment of this unending display. And just as her art was created, it simultaneously disappeared. I took from this a lesson. All beautiful forms of this world are in the process of transformation. Nothing is stable. With every moment, our reality is changing. Mother Ganga, like nature, is constant, but no manifestation of hers remains. Likewise, all that we hold dear in this world is imperceptibly vanishing. We cannot cling to anything. But if we can appreciate the beauty of the underlying current of truth, we can enjoy a reality deeper than the fickle waves of joy and sorrow. I sat, a submissive student, trying to learn from my teacher. She begins her course from high in the Himalayas and flows without cease to the sea. Innumerable obstacles, huge rocks, fallen trees, or even mountains block her way, but nothing will stop her journey to the sea. Gracefully, she flows over, under, or around all obstructions. Mother Ganga teaches us that if we want to attain the sea of our aspirations, we must persevere in our goal and never be discouraged by the inevitable obstacles that will come on our path. All impediments are like rocks in the river of life. We should flow around them and never give up. With the Lord's help, there is always a way. As I sat on that rock, I imagined that watching the flow of the river was like watching the passing of life. If one is inside the river, one is greatly affected by it. But if one sits on the bank, one can observe it with detachment. Mother Ganga teaches that if we learn to be detached from our ego and the flurry of the mind, senses, and the world around us, and observe life with a sober disposition, we gain wisdom. After the sunset each evening, I returned to my cave in the forest and contemplated the gifts of the day. One day, I thought about how millions of years of history had been enacted on these banks. During the age of the Aryans, spirituality flourished. Alexander the Great came and went. Then the Mughals, conquering North India, ruled for centuries, only to be vanquished by the British Empire, which was eventually driven away by Mahatma Gandhi, Subhash Chandra Bose, and not Einstein. I was thinking about Bose. Bose and Einstein were physics collaborates. And the Indian freedom movement. Slavery and freedom, war and peace, political conquest and defeat, like the seasons, they had all come and gone. Through it all, timeless Mother Ganga patiently flowed toward the sea. Truth, too, was unchanging. Whatever may happen in this world, however dramatic, it could not disturb the flow of truth. Many objects, I observed, were swept along in the current, among them leaves, flowers, uprooted trees, a dead buffalo, and even human corpses. If an object remained in the river's flow, I reflected, it would eventually be carried to the sea. But in the course of time, most things would be diverted to the banks and their progress halted. The spiritual path and the spiritual teacher are like the current of Mother Ganga, and the students are like the objects carried along in the river. If the follower remains faithfully in the current of the holy teachings, they will be carried to the ocean of spiritual truth. But many temptations and diversions appear along the banks, promising comfort and happiness, tempting the follower to come out from the current that leads to one's heart's aspiration. Not all aspirants will remain faithful, but those who do can reach the ocean of enlightenment. I wondered, who will be my teachers, and can I remain faithful? Early one morning, just before sunrise, as I looked downstream into the current that never slept, I considered her 1,000-mile journey. The sea was calling, and each drop of water patiently flowed in the current to her ultimate destination, so far away. Mother Ganga is teaching me that patience and steadfastness are required to follow my calling. I never really stopped to think why I had left behind the promises of the world to sit alone on a rock in the Ganga and endure a rigorous self-imposed fast. Why did I act in such extreme ways, like a person obsessed? At the time, I did not feel that these were my choices. I felt the mysterious hand of destiny leading me forward. One brisk winter day, while absorbed in meditation, sweet harmonica melodies began to play in my mind, drawing my attention away from anything else. My consciousness flowed irresistibly toward that imaginary music. Concert after concert was performed within the theater of my mind. A longing impelled me to reunite with my beloved harmonica, which I had not played since arriving in India. Every day before sunrise until after sunset, I had remained faithfully on my cherished rock. But this day would be different. An urge pulled me away, and leaving behind the rock and river, I returned to my cave to play. As I lifted the harmonica to my lips, something strange came upon me. An invisible force induced me to return to the river. With each step, my impatient senses burned to play my instrument. Wading across Mother Ganga's stream, I crawled onto my rock. There, as on all other days, I sat on the cold, coarse surface, but today I held the harmonica, and my heart surged with a wave of affection that made my whole body shiver. How could a piece of metal and wood induce such an emotional state? This harmonica had been my dear friend, into whom I poured the intimate feelings of my heart. So confidential was our relationship that I whispered to it secrets that no one but God and I would ever know. It translated my inner joys, sorrows, and aspirations into sweet music. Over time, there had evolved between us the natural dialogue of the player and the played. In many ways, we were like lovers. As if jealous, my harp seemed to demand my full attention now. I wondered what it was I truly desired in my life. Gazing upstream into the distant mountains, a quiet sadness touched my heart. I understood that my trusted companion was now distracting me from my path. Standing on that rock, I peered into the deep blue waters of the Ganga. Then I gazed on my harmonica, knowing there was no other like it within 1,000 miles. Moved, I revealed my heart to my comrade, not in song this time, but in simple words. My dear friend, I thank you for being my faithful companion all these days. In times of pain and loneliness, you have always been there to give me solace and joy. How patiently you heard my innermost thoughts and transformed the words I was unable to speak into songs that touched people's hearts. I wept. Next, I turned my eyes to the holy river and prayed, Mother Ganga, in offering to you what I hold so dear, I wish to offer my unworthy heart to God. Please accept it. With both hands, I pressed the harmonica to my heart and then cast it into the Himalayan breeze. The instrument floated upward, as if in slow motion, and then descended. My heart shivered on hearing the plop as my dear companion disappeared forever in the current of the Ganga. Often the most precious gifts of life come in ways we neither plan nor expect. Some say it is due to chance, others cite karmic destiny, and yet others believe the Lord may intervene in our lives at any moment. One afternoon, as my awareness drifted away from my meditation toward the hymn of Mother Ganga's rushing current, her powerful, gentle waves seemed to be singing an anthem of wisdom and love. Held captive by that sweet song, I listened effortlessly. This became my meditation. From dawn to dusk, I simply meditated on the song of the river. Days later, while sitting in the crisp winter breeze, I gazed up at the Himalayan sky. Puffs of milky white clouds hovered from a limitless sapphire dome. Below me, the current swirled, rippled, and foamed. The sound of the river was a symphony that released me from the shackles of my thoughts. From the river's song emerged thousands of celestial voices, all chanting in unison the sacred syllable, Om. The sound captured my mind. Another evening, as the sun was setting, I observed golden winter clouds floating in the deepening blue sky. The mountains were cloaked in a gown of purple and appeared to be so alive I felt them to be breathing. Flocks of white cranes, black nightingales, green parrots, and birds of vibrant blue, red, and oranges soared across the sky, each chirping, warbling, or trilling its own sweet song. Except for the bird song, that evening the Ganga Valley was still with an almost mythical silence. My mind floated, recalling how God had taken from me so little and given me so much. For a moment, I contemplated that to the degree one feels unworthy of grace, one will be grateful when it comes. It is gratitude that makes the heart receptive to receive the Lord's blessings. Closing my eyes, I merged again in the endless chant of Om, the river's song. It was just so beautiful. I felt on the verge of something extraordinary. Then I heard something that seemed to ascend from the depths of Mother Ganga's heart. The choir of thousands of celestial voices sang a slow, entrancing song that seemed to reverberate throughout the river valley. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, song of the river, I felt God had whispered this beautiful mantra into my ears. It was a mystical rite of passage, carrying me on a wave that lifted me closer to my aspiration. My heart soared with gratitude. Inadvertently, I found myself breaking my long silence and singing these words aloud with the river. No intoxication on earth could come close to that experience. The meaning of the song was unknown to me, but it stole my heart. What did it mean? I believed that this mystery, like the mystery of the picture of the blue boy, would be revealed in time. In sacrificing the song of my harmonica, I had inherited the song of the Ganga. Thank you for listening. That was the end of the 3rd chapter of the 2nd act of The Journey Home. I hope you liked it.